Good evening, everybody. My name is Efra Gonzalez. Today I am here with would you like to
Jim
present yourself?
Fiorentini.
Awesome. So I just have a couple questions to ask you today. There's five questions.
Sure.
Three were kind of picked by all of us, and the two were most important to us. So our first question is: would you support rehabbing, expanding, and better utilizing our homes and storefronts? Yes or no?
Absolutely, yes. We've already done that. We've put millions of dollars into rehabbing homes through our community development block grant program to give people a better place to live, to make sure that people who live in these homes live in a home that's safe and good to live in. But we need to do more. We need better and more housing here in the city of Haverhill, so that my children and grandchildren, so that you and your children and grandchildren can find a place to live that's affordable. I support what are called accessory dwellings, so that a person can expand their own home and allow a family member or somebody else to live there. I support expanded housing opportunities, and I support more housing in the city, including affordable and low-income housing. I've been a longtime champion of low-income housing, and that will continue if I'm reelected. We need more places for people to live.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer. It's very good.
You know, my own children couldn't find a place to live in Haverhill, so it strikes home.
There's a lot of places. There's not much in Haverhill, and I'm glad that we do have that as a thing. Our second question is our Main Street downtown healthy and successful? Yes or no? If not, what would you do to change that?
Most of it is. The Washington Street end is very healthy. It wasn't when I took office. When I took office, it was all boarded up buildings. But we've attracted over $200 million in new investment. We have 22 restaurants, a great restaurant zone, and more importantly, we have 1,000 people, many of them young people, and many of them minorities working in these restaurants. That's why when COVID struck, we worked really hard to keep all these restaurants going. We worked with the Chamber of Commerce for a gift card program. We immediately allowed them to do outdoor dining. We lifted red tape and regulatory barriers, and we gave them money, not just to help them, but so that those 1,000 people, many of them young, would be able to stay there. Another thing we did was work with the Napoli companies in the state to bring in a brand new culinary arts institute here in the city of Haverhill. Now, I was telling you earlier, I grew up in the restaurant business. Many of my family members are still there. I understand that it's a decent place to live, can give you a good chance of advancement. I'm not washing dishes anymore, I've advanced. And I want everyone to have what I had, a decent job with a chance of advancement. And that's why we work so hard to keep our restaurants in business.
Thank you. Would you vote in support of a motion allocating from a city budget or incarcerated people and are being released back into society?
Yes. One of the first things I did was, Mayor, was say that we're no longer going to do query checks on people who work in low-level jobs in the city. Now, someone wants to be a police chief, we're going to do a detailed query check. But somebody who wants to work for the highway department, a summer job with water or wastewater, we want to give kids a second chance so that even if they've made a mistake in life, they can still have a chance and can still work. I wasn't always mayor, I'm also a lawyer. I practiced law for 30 years. I represented many young people. I've been to many, many jails and mental health institutions when they had them. And what I realized was the young people that we worked with, and they were all young people, by the way, they were just ordinary people. They'd made mistakes in life, and they deserved a second chance in life. And that's what I've tried to do. And in answer to your question, what I support, using city money to hire people, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Fourth question is, as UTEC, we value equality. We as organizers try to decrease racism and violence in the streets. Now, would you vote on a motion that says racism is a public health issue?
Yes, and I've already done that. Mayors don't vote on motions, they make them. And I've already introduced a resolution that says that racism is a public health issue. And when you look at the outcomes in medicine, you can see that really clearly. Whether it's something like the number of women who die in childbirth, you would think in this day and age nobody died in childbirth, but they do. That African American women have a much greater chance of dying in childbirth than white women. when you look at the number of people who were infected by the pandemic, when you look at outcomes from surgery, when you look at successful births over and over again, you see that minorities have a worse outcome than others. So yes, I think it is a public health issue. I've already said so and will continue to say so.
Thank you. So our fifth and final question is, do you support having our own version of the carriers law? Yes or no?
No, I don't think it's necessary. The police reform bill that went through the legislature already incorporated most of those provisions. So that, for example, what happened out in Wisconsin, where some person was taken, beaten, and murdered, really, while other officers stood by, can't happen under the new police reform bill. They're required, if they see something, to stop it. I support that. I don't think a local law is necessary. The state law took care of that, and I'm glad it did. And by the way, we have a great police force here in Haverhill. I don't hear of those incidents, but they do happen. As I said earlier, I wasn't always mayor, I was a lawyer. I practiced law for 30 years. I did some work, I was a prosecutor, but I was also a criminal defense lawyer for a lot of that time. I did some work on police brutality cases. One of them in Lowell, I remember it like it was yesterday. Most policemen are great, they're nice, they're helpful, but sometimes they're not. And when they're not, they need to be weeded off the force and quickly.
Thank you. That is actually all the questions we have for you today.
Thanks very much.
Thank you guys. Jim Fiorentini, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Efren. Thank you. Great
Thank
to
you.
see you.